earlier this afternoon with Sam Clovis, who is a conservative intellectual, and he's been around a long time. He has a resume that would impress anybody, I would think. But our passionate argument, and conservatives can disagree and have passionate arguments because we deal in facts primarily. We don't believe in a lot of hyperbole and emotion, even though, and I know I said passion. Passion, principled passion is allowed. Crazy hatred, virtue signaling, posturing, and all those things are out. Who needs those things? How do we move our lives and our country forward with that sort of nonsense, especially on social media? And I raise my hand and tell you I'm the most guilty in the room. I've tried to moderate my social media remarks over the years with some success, but I have to admit I'm pretty snarky. So the snark in me comes out strong, and I really have to. Hopefully not make snarky comments. But anyway, Donald Trump has sued some social media platforms, particularly Facebook and Twitter, for banning him from the platforms. My position, and Sam disagreed, and he disagreed on the very noble purpose, or for the very God, I'm starting to sound like Joe Biden. Sam disagreed for the very noble idea of private property rights, that the social media platforms are in fact the property of the owners, and they can allow or not allow anybody on their platforms that they want to. I understand and have the absolute most respect for that idea. If there's one thing that we must have, there's a couple of things. First of all, we must have free speech, which the left is against, of course. And we must have private property rights. Otherwise, we're just, and it could happen. It could happen in your lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. We are truly just servants of the state, vessels of the state. And of course, that's what leftist radicals, any moderation, liberals, progressive, all that is out the window. This is a full-fledged attack on our country. It is. And Donald Trump has sued these two websites. And his position, I totally agree with him, that banning him and conservative voices from social platforms is a grave threat to our democracy. And I agree 100%. Now, I know everybody hates Donald Trump. He's such a liar. And he certainly has stretched the truth more than just a few times. But Jennifer Horton, and it's mentioned in the Wall Street Journal this morning. Jennifer Horton is a Michigan school teacher. She was banned from Facebook for sharing an article questioning whether her mandatory masks for young children are healthy. Out she goes, questioning the liberal or leftist narrative. And this is why so many people didn't want a mask, because they saw it as part of a way to strip you of your identity. And that is true. I wore a mask. That was my decision. But I find favor with the idea that all this authoritarian insistence on masking did have a darker purpose, and that was to strip a person of their identity. Only by stripping away your identity as an individual and a free person can this thuggery from the left succeed. And let me say again, you cannot be a Catholic and a Democrat, both. There was a time when I was proudly a member of the Catholic Church, the Democratic Party, and I was a great sympathizer and member of unions over the years. Now the Democrats have destroyed private sector unions, Bill Clinton specifically, but Barack Obama, a liberal internationalist, and that's being kind, they made sure that the private sector unions never return. They never return. So, what are we to say about Jennifer Horton, who was banned for questioning whether mandatory masks for her students in school were a good thing? Later, her brother went missing. Jennifer Horton's brother went missing, and she was unable to use Facebook to get the word out. In another case, Colorado physician Kelly Victory was deplatformed by YouTube after she made a video for her church explaining how to hold services safely. Cayenne Michael of Florida and her husband Bobby lost their 21-year-old son in a fatal collision caused by a twice deported illegal. Facebook censored them after they posted on border security and immigration enforcement. Meanwhile, Chinese propagandists and the Iranian dictators spew threats and hateful lies on these platforms with impunity. Did you hear what I just said? American citizens in grief over the loss of their 21-year-old son, in terrible grief, after he was killed in an accident by a twice deported illegal alien. They were deplatformed for questioning border security. Well, we can't have the great liberal experiment on open borders questioned, so out they go on YouTube. These flagrant attacks on free speech are doing terrible damage to this country. Terrible damage. We have to see this as a war that we're losing. And we're losing because we want to speak rationally. We want to have a rational and spirited dialogue. The radicals who would destroy our country don't care about destroying our country. They don't. You think I'm being too bombastic? I'm not. I'm deadly serious. There are young people in cells on both coasts that are scary. All right. I'm Michael Devine. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We're going to have a sports